Hello everyone and welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Today's video we are taking a look at this foot, and while it may not look too bad right now, we got some cracks to investigate and a problem to uncover underneath that. So let's get started. So it may be a little difficult to tell with this camera angle, but what we're dealing with here is a left rear foot on this particular cow. That means that the claw that's affected here is the medial claw. And when it comes to lesions on cows, especially when we're dealing with ulcerations and white lines and things like that, having them on the medial claw is it's pretty rare actually. Most of the time and most of the problems we're going to see are going to be on the lateral claw, that being the one that bears the most weight, has the most concussive force when it hits the ground, things like that. So when it comes to this medial claw, we don't typically see a lot of things. This particular case, though, is known for showing up on that medial claw, and that's what we call a sole fracture. And what that is basically is a separation from the sole of the sole at the heel bulb junction way in there. And what we end up having there will be a ulceration right in that spot. It looks similar to a normal sole ulcer in the traditional sole ulcer spot, but it's in a slightly different location, and it's up higher. They heal really well though, so the key part of this is we just got to get that hoof removed from around that lesion, and they will heal up and put a block on that other claw. Of course, take the weight off, and then, like I said, get that area cleaned up really well, and she'll be off to the races. Get questions a lot about why we don't disinfect the outside of the hoof before we start working on them, and this is a perfect example of one of the reasons why we don't. It's because that the area that we need to clean is actually on the inside of the foot, and cleaning the outside would have done no good at this point, because all of the debris and stuff is inside. And you can see here, you can get a look at that lesion, and we actually have more to go before we actually get down to the lesion itself. So we have multiple barriers to getting that lesion clean if we clean it at the beginning. So here now we're going to work on that second layer of separation, and you'll see what I mean when we talk about when we get further in there, a lot more areas to clean out. When you watch me working on feet and cutting away loose horn, it may look like I have uncontrolled motions coming down toward the foot, and that an accident waiting to happen with my knife slipping and going into the soft tissues. But what I'm actually doing is using the hook of that knife to pull that layer away from the foot as I'm cutting. So I'm actually pulling toward me. You can see there, and then I'm cutting. That way I don't have to worry about cutting any of the live tissue underneath, and I'm only going to remove as much as the sole will allow that's already separated. So that's kind of how I can tell what I can take away, and my knife will very easily follow that separation as I'm pulling away from the foot. It also keeps the foot safe from any accidents that I may make. Here you can get a look at that lesion site and the progress we've made so far removing that loose horn. I've still got some more loose horn up above that I need to remove, and around the edges of that open area. The pinkish area around that lesion is actually new horn formation that would be working to close up that little bit of ulceration that we have there. But I need to get the rest of this away. I need to make sure that entire lesion itself is fully exposed, so that it can we can get the treatment on it, and it has time to heal, and then allow new horn to be produced there. And if you noticed, I've sprayed this foot now 3 or 4 times as I've been working on it, and there's still debris in around that lesion that needs to be cleaned out. So that's why I really wait till the end and do a thorough job at the end cleaning that spot out. A little bit more loose horn yet to go. You see we've got all of that loose hoof removed now from around that lesion. The area right around that lesion itself is what that new horn will look like as it forms, but we got this area cleaned out now, so that should be able to form in that lesion itself, and this will fill in completely. This lateral claw was pretty high on this cow already, but I'm still going to use a block just to make sure that I keep that medial claw off the ground and let that heal. Like I said, these heal up pretty quick, but that block will just aid in that. Typically, I wouldn't wrap a sole fracture situation like this, but because there was so much debris packed into that lesion site, the likelihood of the bacteria that cause dermatitis being present is pretty high. So she's going to get a salicylic acid wrap, and that should do it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do. I'm getting close to that 50,000 mark, and I would appreciate it if you did. So hit that subscribe button, and we will see you all on the next one.